Okay, so welcome guys to my channel. Here is Vasily and today I'm gonna take my first ever podcast interview. Thank you, Vasily, for coming here today, and appreciated a lot your willingness to come and share your story on the brand new podcast.
Thank you, Raya. It's a pleasure because we've been knowing each other for not so long time ago, but it's been nice talking to you all the time. And this is also a pleasure to be the first guest. So we are doing this very informal way. Happy to chat.
Okay. It's okay. It's just like two friends chatting. I think it's fine.
Yeah. So feel free to ask anything you want to know, and I'll do my best to provide.
Yeah, thanks. So it's likewise. It's always nice to talk to you. And let's start with numbers. The reason that I wanted to talk to you, because first of all, you're a very nice person, and I see like how you talk to people, how you treat people, that you're always very open to share your expertise, your knowledge. Like we're working here in a house in Belgrade, and I see that like you helped some people to set up their profile on Fiverr, and you've been like long time seller there, and just like seeing how you do that non-profit just to give back to the community, it inspires a lot. And so let's talk numbers. So you were ex-professional tennis sports player. You were like top 360 in the International Tennis Federation rating.
Yeah.
So you also run your own social media agency where you provide clients with growing social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing that since 2015, 16?
More or less, that's where, yeah.
So it's around 2 years now, 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did like a little research, and I found that last year your revenue was about $300,000 per year, right?
Yeah, I mean around that, yeah, maybe a little bit more.
So is it income like only from Fiverr, or is it like total? Because I know that you have Fiverr income, you also have another agency where you also provide social media services, but it's more focused on the medical field, right?
Yeah, we'll have some clients. So yeah, I would say basically, roughly, we have around 300, maybe $320,000 last year on Fiverr.
This is only Fiverr?
Yes, this is only Fiverr, and I would say maybe another 20-30,000 that came like directly. Just where clients, because we have some clients that we're working directly, just like they're paying through Stripe, we invoice them, and we work on also month per month basis, depending on the services they need. But yeah, that's mainly because even though we have some clients directly, I'm still trying to push them back to Fiverr, because I think we have a pretty good system developed on Fiverr where we have, it's not only depends on me. So like, let's say if you as a client will place an order, I will have someone who's going to look at this order, who's going to put it in our workflow, and then we're going to start the process. So it doesn't just relies on me. So that's why we have a good system built on Fiverr, and it makes for me more sense to also bring clients to the Fiverr.
Okay, so besides being an entrepreneur, you're also micro-influencer, because you have Instagram and YouTube, and in total you have around 30-40,000 followers across platforms, and also you recently launched AI product, right? So
Yeah.
congrats on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, Hustle AI, right?
Freelance Hustle, yeah.
Yeah.
.ai.
So you're like the person that has the most versatile experience that I know of. So for now, so okay, so let's maybe first start talking about Freelance Hustle AI, your product that you launched about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So how many followers, users are there
Yeah,
today?
so we have about 20 active users around that. I need to check because sometimes, I mean, even during these days, we have more people are signing up. So around 20 active users. They're all obviously going through free trial. So when we launched, the idea was, well, first of all, this project we've been working on it for more than a year, and I'm doing this together with my actually very, very good friend and also my professor when I was at university. When I went to the US, because I played tennis, like you mentioned, and then I got a scholarship, and I decided to go to the US university because it gives a good opportunity for athletes to be like actually get a good degree and also be able to maybe pursue career professionally in the sports, because in the US they give a lot of opportunities, like even you have coaches, you have fitness coach, medical
infrastructure,
so
campus.
it's everything, everything is
Gym.
Gym you have as
Cards.
well. Yes, so it's really a good place to be because you can develop yourself as a stronger person and also maybe build a career professionally. So
Okay, let's first understand like what is your product is about, like so what services you provide to users, who are your users?
Yeah, so right now there are Fiverr sellers, so freelancers who are actively selling on Fiverr. And when they sell on Fiverr, because of the platform, they have to stay within certain, they cannot do many things that when you work with clients directly. So we wanted to build something that will help them reply faster to the messages. For example, one of the features we have is that AI reply. So we're using OpenAI on the back end, and it helps reply to the messages quicker. We did it with the possibility of the Chrome extension. So when you create a Chrome extension, you can actually connect an OpenAI and then essentially integrate these replies within the Fiverr.
So like, is there any other similar products in the market to what you're doing? Like, and what makes your product stand out?
So there are not really like exactly what we have, but for example on Upwork, you heard about, about Upwork, there are more things like this because I think the Upwork community, maybe there are like a lot more developers and they have similar tools, not exactly what we have, but something similar. But on the Fiverr, no, because there are many, I think it can be because maybe there is not enough, like let's say skilled developers.
Okay, so let's maybe explain. Fiverr is a freelancing platform for people all over the world, provide their services online to customers, and usually like what kind of services are these?
So mostly there are a lot of services there. Mostly they're like design services, so it can be logo design, can be website design, can be packaging design. Maybe you have your product and you need to have like a label packaging. So you have everything related to design. You have a lot of marketing services, for example, social media marketing, SEO as well. You have like digital marketing, more, like Google ads or paid ads. So you have really a huge variety of those kind of services. But also you have other categories. You have programming and tech. You also have AI services.
And do you know roughly how many Fiverr sellers on the platform?
So it's a good question. There are more than 500,000 active sellers.
So all of these users are potentially your clients?
Potentially yes, but I think who will actually use it probably going to be a lot less because.
So what's your goal? Like how many users do you want to reach during the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like maybe having 1,000 users, it will be
1,000.
yes, 1,000 users. I think that will be like an ideal scenario.
Okay.
And
I think you should make it 10,000 at least.
yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely possible even more, but I think 1,000 it's like a very, in my opinion, a realistic goal, because probably when I was researching more, there are maybe not a lot of sellers who make, let's say, $5,000 or more per month, but we actually need those types of sellers to use our platform, because if you're just starting out, it might not be ideal because you're not going to have a lot of messages.
You don't have that volume of messages that takes up a lot of time for you to manage. So
yeah,
so it only makes sense for those who get like 100 messages per day, right?
I mean, not even 100, but like if you get maybe like 10, 15, 20 per day, that's going to be useful. Also, if you have like a team as well, that you're not only a solo a freelancer, but you have your team members, that's going to be also helpful, because you can add your team members in the workspace, because the way how it works, we have a workspace, and then in that workspace you can add your team members, and whoever is going to have the extension, the Chrome extension, they're all going to be using the same workspace. So essentially, when you provide like instructions, because this part with the AI, you can train it, so you can actually say what kind of services you do. You can say anything you want, anything that will help. For example, in my case, I'm using it for myself, so I have clients who will message me, hey Vasily, I want to grow my Instagram. So when I click on our AI, the first thing is going to ask, can you please share your Instagram username, can you please share your website, because that's what I always need to know first before I can tell the client if I can work or not. So those are the things we have. But besides that, we also have also a CRM system, because right now it's very hard when you have a lot of clients. It's very hard to manage those leads, you know, because on Fiverr you can have a message and then you reply to it, and then it's going to go down, and you might not come back to this person.
Yeah.
Again.
So what's the core value of your product? Like, first of all, it's semi-automating the replies to potential clients. So it means like you literally save time for your users, right?
Yeah, so that's the first thing. That's we're just helping the replies, and it also looks at the message itself. So for example, if the client asks something, the AI will know the context of the message, and it's going to come up with a response that is relevant to your service.
So in the background, they have some context provided from the user, so that AI exactly knows like how to answer, like relevant, correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Because
informative.
Yeah. Because, for example, sometimes.
So that means it not only saves time, but it's also grows the quality of the responses, right?
Yes, and also the other point is that it also helps you with handling complaints, because for example, sometimes the clients will not be happy maybe with some, you know, because everyone has different expectations. So the AI will actually help structure this response much better, like much more nicer, respectful as well, and it really gives you a lot of nice context. And I think it also can be very addictive, like because when you start using it, you can also give hints. You know, you can actually say, for example, you can even say like reject this client because we don't work with this niche, and then it will come up with like a nice message that will eventually, you know, I think it makes it easier. Maybe the future communication is going to be like this, where you just writing not the actual message, but you're giving prompts, and then it's coming up with like a nice context.
So your goal for the next year is to reach, let's say, 100K, 200K per year.
In revenue,
Yeah.
you mean? I think it will be nice to get to like 10K per month. Like that's, you know, we always say 10K, $10,000 per month in anything that we do. It's a good milestone to achieve. So yeah, I would say that's the goal for sure. Like we want to make sure that it gets to that point, because then it will make sense to even push it further, and because we'll have resources, it will be a little bit easier for us to operate.
So how did you first recognize the opportunity to even start working on that project?
So going back when I was telling that I started with this with my professor and a very good friend, Ayman, we were just discussing because he's more in the programming. So he has his background is programming, computer science. He has a PhD computer science. So and he loves the AI things, right? Especially the LLM, models and all of these things related. So we were just talking, and I was obviously sharing my experience with Fiverr. And then he's...
So when was it? Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
It was a year ago. It was 2024 in March or April.
Were you like chatting in the Zoom, or were you like traveling together? What was it?
We were chatting on Zoom because we sometimes we were trying to work on some projects before, but it didn't turn out to be like.
Okay, so it's not your first attempt.
It's not a first attempt.
Okay.
Yeah, the previous attempt were not maybe as successful because.
Okay, so what's number? What is the
Previously.
Yeah.
I mean,
how many projects were there?
It was
that you buried.
It was more like ideas because.
It's okay. How many of them?
Maybe right now, I think it was like maybe two ideas that we tried to do.
Oh, it's okay. It's not that many.
Yeah, it's not that many because.
Okay. So this one is the third idea that you came up with.
Yes, more or less.
Okay.
But this was more like an idea that really was maybe more useful and making more sense because first of all, it was really helpful for me because we decided to, because first of all, Ayman, he's not on Fiverr, so he doesn't know like the needs, of Fiverr, what they need. And I told him that it would be nice to have these kind of things done. And then he told me like, oh, actually,
it's very easy to
build. Actually, he was saying that he's using something similar for his emails for his students, because the students will send an email and he will use something similar and generate like a nice reply. So first we did a first test, like we built this, he made the first...
So how much time it took to build the first version?
It was pretty quick, maybe like a week. To really just test it, but it was very dry because we didn't have like a portal for instructions.
Okay, so 1 week for building Alpha Page, so that's cool.
Yeah. I would say one week, but of course then it took some time, like because we eventually launched a year later, But I think the biggest.
So you started in March 2024, right?
Yeah.
And you launched in May 2025.
Yeah, end of May 2025.
Yeah, so it was about like year and 3 months.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that why it took so long is because you can build a product very quick for yourself to use it, but if you want to have users using it, there's a lot of things that you need to also work on. For example, you need to build the whole logic, how they will sign up to your platform.
Okay, so like after you came up with the idea, how did you test that the same pain point was relevant for other Fiverr users?
I think the first thing is I would say I have a pretty good understanding of the whole like a Fiverr community because I'm always talking to many sellers. I'm also interviewing them on YouTube. I'm trying to meet as many as I can. So I've been hearing a lot. And
so did they complain to you that they just like hate like responding to the clients and it takes like too much time? I
would say yes, but also not on responding fast is important, but also coming up with the responses as well. Like what will you say when the client maybe not happy or some other complicated situation. So essentially we were like, okay, let's try this because if it's working for me, if it's working with my sort of clients, I'm sure this can work with other sellers as well. But when we were doing this, we also wanted to do something, not only this, but more options, like maybe giving them, right now we have this CRM system where they can manage the leads. For example, right now we're also actively working on the order management. So like this, because the biggest problem with Fiverr is that you get the client, for example, you have your Fiverr account, let's say, maybe in the future you have, or let's say you have your Fiverr account and then you have your orders coming, your clients, and they have to submit requirements like their website, what they want. And the biggest problem is that the seller, they don't want to share access, like you don't maybe feel comfortable to share access with your team members because they, they will see everything, like finances, and maybe you don't know, maybe you don't trust yet if you hire just someone like this. So it's important this information to be put somewhere, and usually people use a platform like Trello or Airtable, and they will just copy paste the requirements and what things need to work. So for example, right now we're working on this idea to integrate all of these requirements and everything into the portal that we have, so you can invite your team member in the portal and your team member will see everything that is there. So this is something that I think will be also very very interesting.
So have you reflected on like what prevented you from launching much sooner?
Yeah, so I think first of all we were constantly maybe adding something.
Adding new features.
Like new features.
Because you wanted to build a good product.
Yeah, so we wanted to make actually, well, also I think the biggest turn point was when Ayman started to use Claude and Cursor as well, because that really accelerated.
So when was it?
I think that was probably December.
2024.
Yeah, December, January. Because first of all, he was not working on this full time, because he has he's teaching at university. Of course, he always loves ideas and projects, so he's working on different projects. So that was not a full-time focus for him. So he spent a few hours per week on this. But when the Cursor, when he started to use Cursor, he started to build things faster, because we started to create more nicer things with the UI, like the portal, everything around it, the logic. So I think from December, January, the growth has really accelerated, and we started to really put like more stricter deadlines. Like we started to meet twice a week instead of once a week. We started to, because we really wanted to make this happen. And I was also telling him, like, I think this can work, and I'm not sure, maybe it's not going to work as we expect, but I was saying that this can be very interesting, because I have an audience already. I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram, and because I'm actively selling on Fiverr, a lot of sellers, they look at me and like, oh, Vasily, he's selling on Fiverr, so this must be working for him. So that's why, because the biggest problem with all the projects and ideas is the marketing part. It's very hard to find an audience, and it's very expensive as well.
Especially today, like, it gets easier to build a product because we now can generate code in seconds. Yeah, but the selling part, so it's like the pain point.
It's very hard, because it takes a lot of time as well. Like when you want to build your X account, Twitter account, YouTube or Instagram, you need really a lot of time and a lot of patience and a lot of consistency as well.
It's a long game.
But you can always go paid route, and you can pay to get users, but it's still not going to be the same effect as organic, because when you do it organically,
because you get loyal followers.
Exactly, you get loyal fans, and they will be actually more invested in your project, because that's why, like, I'm bringing people here in Belgrade, Serbia, to film the Fiverr sellers, and I'm showing them the product.
Well, when is it gonna be? So when is gonna be the event?
Oh, the event. So right now I'm not sure. We're doing a smaller event for freelancers to in the end of June, 28th of June. So I'm not sure.
So it's very soon.
Yeah, because we're filming now at the beginning of June. But maybe by the time the video will be out, maybe it will be somewhere close or past.
So like, are the freelancers from Serbia coming, or like all over the world?
So we want to do the first like freelancers here in Belgrade in Serbia, because that way, just to see how many people out there, because I actually read that Serbia has it's like in the top 15% of most freelancers here. Like it's there are a lot of freelancers here.
Like you mean top 15% of what?
So basically, let's say top. I wasn't sure. I think the top 15% of all.
Like 15% of all freelancers in the world come from Serbia?
Not like that, but mostly like Serbia considers to be in the like top 15 countries where it has the most freelancers.
Okay, so it's not 15%, but it's top 15 countries.
Yes.
That has like most freelancers.
Yes, okay. Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think this has a lot of potential here, because there are a lot of good people who are actually, because they speak here, as also you noticed, very well in English.
Yeah.
In Serbia, for example, in other countries it might not be the same. And for them, clients in the US, in the UK, they are more invested in Serbia as well, in the people of Serbia, because they can speak really well English. So they can be good sales people, project managers, marketers, developers as well, because I think when you're developing something and you have a developer that speaks fluently English, that's the most important.
Okay, so it's going to be a local event here,
Yeah,
28th of June 2025.
Yes, local event here. We'll see how it goes. I actually need to start pushing it. I'm just finished some videos for promoting it. So
okay, so it sounds exciting.
Yeah. I hopefully you will also come, or if you have time and
yeah,
and
for
see.
sure, just to hang out.
Yeah, meet some other people.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking to do one specifically for Fiverr sellers, but this will be probably in like end of the year, maybe October as well. But this will be like specific for Fiverr, because I think we have some cool ideas that I want to also present on this event, like make a like announcement, like an Apple presentation, maybe
Oh, okay. So it's gonna be very fun. So like a lot to look forward to this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think some things might not go as we planned, but at least I have motivation to try, and I think. I did events before. My first events, no one showed up. It was like embarrassment.
Or let's talk about that. Like, how was this?
Yeah, so it was like first
event.
event. It was in Bucharest, Romania.
Okay, so what year was it?
It was 2017.
2017.
I graduated.
So 2017 is about 8 years ago.
Yes. I graduated from university, and I was going to this conference called Brand Minds. It was very big with marketers and entrepreneurs, and I was thinking during those days I will also organize like a Fiverr.
So where was this conference? Was it also in Bucharest?
Yeah, it was in Bucharest. So I was going to this conference, and at the same time I wanted to organize like a meetup for Fiverr sellers.
Yeah.
So I booked a meeting room. It was in one of the hotels, and I was promoting it, like
How did you promote it?
I was basically at that time. Also now you have a forum about Fiverr, and I was just like posting some, hey, I'm gonna have this event, and anyone. But I didn't really think too much about.
So you just like posted, hey guys, come, I'm gonna have this meetup. Let's just chat, like.
Yeah. I also asked about Fiverr how they can also maybe help a little bit and push it, and they said they also send it to their like sellers in that area, But I think the biggest problem it was maybe a little bit of misunderstanding, and also I tried to maybe rely on them. I thought they will bring the people. So when it happened, I'm going to this hotel, and the people in the reception like, yes, we know, because I did a reservation before. And then basically they say, okay, here is your room, and then they were showing me here is your like like lunch area.
So how big the room was? Like, is it for 20 people?
Around that, it was like
people?
20 people. It was like nice. They had like a pen and paper, like you can write.
Do you have a picture of that room?
I'm not sure. I need to look back. And then the guy was saying that, oh, here is the lunch as well. You can go and have like lunch, the special area. And then essentially I was like, I don't remember what time it was, but let's say 2 p.m. So I was like, okay, we have some guests are coming. Maybe some of them are late. So it's 2 p.m. There is no one. I sit in this meeting room, and then the meeting room is like you have this main, like in the classroom, you have this main desk where like your teacher, and then you have like the other desks, like organized
in a row.
Yeah. Okay. So you have like so I was sitting in that in the desk of a professor, I don't know, and I'm like, okay, it's 2:05, 2:10, it's 2:10, 2:15, 2:20, and I'm like, yeah, probably there's no one gonna show up, and then I was like, okay, let me just stay until like 2:40, and then if no one shows up, I'll just leave. And and then I just stayed until like 2:40, 2:50, almost an hour. No one showed up, and I was like, okay, I think that's just a fail. So
You thought like it's okay, just like another fail.
Yeah.
Just like learn.
Yeah, so then I just went. Actually, I just kind of escaped from there, you know. So of course I paid everything before, you know, the meeting room, because you have to pay everything before. So I paid, and then I was like, okay, never mind. Let me just leave as soon as possible so I can forget this chaos that happened. But yeah, that was the first like a first event that failed. But I think it's because going back to the marketing, it's so important. And during this year, like right now, we have a lot of platforms, like for example Luma, maybe you heard about, or like Meetup, you know, like meetup.com, where you can find events, but you can organize them much better, you know, marketing wise. Like you can actually have you know, like these platforms, you can write this, organize these events, and then you can run maybe local ads, or maybe you can post in other communities, you know. Especially in Belgrade, there are a lot of communities, local communities here. So if you post in those communities, you will actually
Okay, so this is 2017. Yeah, so what was the next time that you attempted to organize an event for Fiverr sellers?
It was so the next time we did it in the end of 2017.
So this was like the start of the 2017?
No, so yeah, this was actually when I graduated. So I graduated in like April, May, and this event was, I think, in June that I did. And then the next one we did it in November or December in Helsinki, Finland, for Fiverr sellers.
Okay, so the next one is November, December. Okay, so it's also like at the time when where you were living.
I was in St. Petersburg,
so you
Russia.
were living at the time at St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Back from the US.
Back from the US, correct.
And you decided to organize another event in Finland.
Yeah, but actually before Finland, I did organize one. I don't remember if it was 2018 or 2017, but I did organize it in Spain.
Yeah.
But this was not related to Fiverr. It was related to, because I had an Instagram, I still have this Instagram page about a city called Marbella in Spain.
Yeah, I know it almost has
100,000, 100,000 followers now. But back then it was maybe like smaller, but still I wanted to make this event as well, because, you know, I learned my lesson that, okay, you need to have some community. So because I had this Instagram page, there were already a lot of people following that. And then when I announced this event, people were like motivated to go because they were interested. So at that time, I did this, I think it was September, maybe 2017 or 2018. But I'm pretty sure it was 2017. So when I did it, it was successful. Like, I think like 40 maybe people came.
You mean the event for Marbella?
For Spain. Yeah, it was.
And where was the event?
In Marbella itself.
In Marbella.
Yeah. So we did a collaboration with the restaurant. And it was a free event, and people just came there. And we had I gave a speech. It was also one of my first speeches, and it was very embarrassing. I was like sweating. I was like telling I was speaking fast. I was trying to prepare, but still I was young and I was just nervous, you know. But
like how old were you?
So just graduated. I mean,
like
20.
22.
21, 22. Yeah. So it was young, but you know, I think it's good because, for example, right now I feel I'm more careful and I'm more analytical. But back then I was not really thinking too much.
Thinking, just like doing.
Yeah. I was just like, let's try to do it. You know, let's do it. And I think
so that's kind of like the privilege of being a little bit delulu.
Yeah, like being a little bit lost as well, or not having a clear idea.
No, it's good, but you still like, okay, I have this idea. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah. So you know, it's very hard every day because you always have doubts and you always have these confusions sometimes if I'm doing it right. If I'm doing, even for this event, for example, it's going to be in 3 weeks, and I'm still. I mean, I'm gonna start pushing it. Probably today, later after our interview.
It's gonna be alright. You have Instagram, you have YouTube.
Yeah, but I think it's you know, even if there will be like, because I think you need to go through this. If you put everything you can and you really say I did my best, you will have the result. Doesn't matter, because the other event I did,
the results will come eventually.
Yes, the results will come, and I like this kind of meetups events because you really meet like-minded people, or the people that they meet each other, they can make something from it. You know, maybe they become business partners, or maybe they become I don't know, good friends, you know, because for events that I organized, you know, it always turned out to be a success because someone will meet someone and they eventually start to like do something or hang out or be friends or business partners.
Yeah, I love that. I love the sense of the community. So let's just go back a little bit and talk more about this event in Finland that you did back in the 2017.
Yeah.
So how did you approach organizing the event next time? Did you like learn your lessons? What were the conclusions? How did you change your strategy?
Yeah, so we started to prepare ahead of time, and
how much time ahead?
maybe a month and a half.
Okay, so a month and a half ahead of the event.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So just to be safe, I think that's enough. Usually a month is okay.
Yeah.
Even I mean, if it's a smaller one, even like a few weeks will be fine because people they see they'll go. I mean, it's not the one that people will come from outside, like traveling and stuff, because it's mostly for local community. So this time, I mean, it was actually Fiverr was more helpful because we had a call and they were like trying to really help as well.
They were partners of this event.
Yes, they helped me with.
Yeah.
I don't remember at that time. I think they did help with renting the meeting room. I think they did provide some like, but it was like a few $100s, you know, to rent a meeting room. It's not, but they were still kind of supportive, and they also helped better with inviting people. But I was also
so
running.
They also pushed that event from the platform.
Yes, but only people who lived in that. So like I think they pushed to everyone who lived in Finland, and I also was pushing from my side. So I started to run like local ads. Like you know, I was
local ads where
Facebook and Instagram. So I was recording like on Instagram, like, hey guys, I'm organizing an event. If you're a freelancer, I'm doing it on December.
So do you remember at the time how many followers did you have on Instagram?
I had, I think that time I was just growing because the thing is with my Instagram, a lot of my even followers, those are the clients that that we worked or currently working, because mainly we're working on their Instagram. So those people were kind of curious to see who I am on Instagram and they were following me. So that's why I still, and of course I was, the service that I had for growing Instagram, I was also running on my account, which means that I was interacting with other people, liking content, and that would also attract people to follow me. So
you were like active user, active participant in the community online.
Yeah.
And you just like, did you only invite your followers, or did you also run some ads?
It was at that time I didn't have really like an audience that I could just post something and the audience will come. It mostly was from attracting people through the ads, like Facebook, Instagram ads.
So you ran this, how do you call them?
Like stories, ads, paid ads. Yeah. And also Fiverr pushed it. But the funny thing, when the event happened, I was preparing to see sellers. I was preparing to talk to them, and then instead there were buyers of Fiverr. You know,
buyers, like potential clients.
Yeah, people who are using Fiverr to buy. You know, to buy services from sellers, and they arrive and they're like, oh, but we're not selling anything. And I became confused. I was like, how come? This is like for fun. He's like, no, we are using Fiverr for finding freelancers, for buying. And in my head I was like, okay, because
so you literally came to the room of the potential clients.
Yes, and I was like, whoa, okay, we need to. So my whole event turned out to be like how to use Fiverr if you're a business or if you want to work with freelancers. So I gave them some good tips. I mean, because I was teaching about social media marketing as well. Like I wanted to make these events not just for like sellers, but also how you can grow on Instagram, how you can grow. So I was giving them a good tips on growing their social media. So the businesses, people who were there, they were actually became potential clients, and some of them became clients.
Do you know how many of them came back to you?
From that event, maybe like one I got like one client for sure, like maybe two, I don't remember exactly.
But like how many people were there?
It was a small. It was like maybe
15 people.
15, 15 people. It was because the whole community in Helsinki is much smaller. Like Finland is just not many at that time. I remember. Now I'm sure that it's much bigger. But that was my that was my try with the events, and then I continued to do that. So I continued to do these types of Fiverr events, and I did after that I did one in London. I did one in in Germany as well, and it was the same. So it was mostly buyers who were coming to these events because they were trying to send it to the people that they have from these cities, and they turn out to be like buyers. There was some sellers as well, but mostly buyers. It was really fun actually. When I did it in Germany, Fiverr was also opening their office. And they wanted to do like this collaboration, that this event will also be the start of their new office in Germany. So it became more and more successful, and then at some point I was also interested to speak at conferences. So I was actually messaging some conferences and summits. And
so what did you want to speak about? Did you want to share your expertise in social media promoting, growing accounts?
So I wanted to talk about how you can grow like on Instagram, and also I wanted to talk about my Fiverr journey. So actually my first speaking gig, when I actually got invited to speak at conferences, this was from my client on Fiverr. And the client, it's the conference. They are hosting a once-a-year conference in Croatia, in Zagreb, and
cool.
I got this client from Fiverr. And then I was like, oh, I see that you have this, and I was like, do you maybe accept speakers? Like, and then he was his name is Andre, and he was like, yeah, we would love to have you. Let's do it, And I got so excited, so we organized.
So which year was it?
It was 2018.
2018.
Yeah. So I went there, and actually we traveled back then with a team as well, because I had like 5-6 people working.
So at the time you already had five people in the office.
Yes. So we had already a team, and we traveled all together to this event. I also have everything on my YouTube as well about this event, about this summit. It turned out to be a success. I spoke. There was a lot of people. Maybe probably over 100 people were like watching me speak on the stage. And after that, I got a lot of people came to me, and they were like, that's the beauty of also social media, because when you speak to a larger number of people, they're gonna follow you. If you tell them like, hey guys, like this is my Instagram, like feel free, I'm documenting my journey, and I got maybe like 50 people followed me. 50% of the whole audience just followed me like within a few minutes while they were listening to me. So that became very powerful, and they came after to me to talk as well. Someone shared a story. Someone was interested in the services that I offer. So, and I really like this. After that, I was like, wow, this is what I really want to do. And the funny thing is, well,
like you mean public speaking or
public speaking? Public speaking that I really like, because I like the energy of people. I like to, back then I was just starting out. For example, now I kind of feel I have a little bit more experience, and I feel I can see some
like
people.
8 years passed and that. But of course you have a lot more experience.
Yeah, it's for sure that, but also I'm still learning, because for example, before COVID, that was my plan to start speaking more and more, and maybe make it as a career. But then
like a public speaker.
Yes, public speaker on the conferences, because when I went to this when I did the Bucharest event, well, I did it. I failed to do it, but
you did it, but you failed.
Yes,
so that's like the most important part of the journey. Like how actually behind any success, like how many fails were before that. So I think we need to talk about that more. Like people usually tend to just like forget, and they think about like how everyone became overnight success, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah, even going back before, like in the college days, it was very stressful, and it was like most of the time I was just wanting to quit, but I stayed with the Fiverr because I just believed in it,
Okay, let's talk more about Fiverr. So you started doing Fiverr. It was 2016, right?
Yeah.
You were in the last year of your college?
Second, yeah. So to 2017, I graduated.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were in the third year.
Yeah.
Of your college, and you started doing some gigs on Fiverr. So first of all, why did you start at all?
Yeah, because you know, the thing is, when you are, so I was playing tennis professionally,
yeah.
and I knew that it's going to be hard for me to become like, you know, I don't know, top 100, top 50 in the world.
Well, when you came to that conclusion that it's going to be like very hard for you?
Because I think many people, they're not being realistic with their current situation. Like many people, they think that the future, oh, everything will be fine. But it's not going to be fine if you don't work towards that. So I had a clear understanding that it's going to be very hard to make to that goal, because I saw that I can maybe become like top 300, like, you know, 200, but it's just going to be very hard to be like the best of the best.
So why did you felt that way? Like, was it
I mean, I felt it at the tournaments, you know, like when I was playing, I mean, I was losing, I was like winning, but I felt that I'm not maybe good enough to be there. Of course, this is maybe also my just my thinking, but also on the other side, I wanted to learn how to make money like online. Because
but like why didn't you choose like just like push harder, train more, like grow, get better? Maybe I don't know, think about some strategy in the game.
Yeah, because you know, I think I was really passionate about tennis, but I was not maybe and like I was not putting like an 200%, you know, I was putting like 150, but not 200%, because at that time I didn't know, like, because we don't know. But now when I look at myself, I could see that I could have done better. For example, I could have eat more healthier, like, let's say, like an example,
sleep better.
Sleep, yeah, but like even like food, like I was eating like, you know, pasta with the sauce. But you know, when you're an athlete, you need to remove all of this. You have to be very disciplined. I think discipline is the most important. So I was more disciplined in the online work, like starting, for example, Fiverr, because I was waking up early, I was doing that.
So I want to understand, like, from where is it coming? Like, it's not really like obvious choice for me that you have a career of being a professional athlete. And for me, like, it feels more natural. Like, if something doesn't work, you just push harder.
Yeah.
And just like, and to do a switch and like, and you're like, okay, I'll just do something else.
Yeah.
That's not obvious choice for me. Like.
Yeah. I think because when I was in the US as well, you know, I wanted to have also like my freedom, the way that, for example, if I want to buy something, I can go and buy. I don't need to like rely on my parents and say like, oh, because, for example, I grew up
you were on a scholarship.
Yeah, I was on a scholarship, but
that covered only the tuition part.
So I had to pay still for the apartment. And of course, like I was growing up not from like the poor family, because I was playing tennis, and tennis is an expensive sport. So of course my like luckily my father was able to help me with when I was playing. Like I could go and train with a coach, you know, I could have a coach, I could go to play tournaments. Like I had that support, and I'm always incredibly thankful for that. But when I was at the university, but my dad also, for example, speaking about the money, like I never had money, like he will just, hey, here's like money for you, just spend on what you want. It was never like this.
It was just like only for the apartment, for the food, for the sports equipment, and that's it.
Yeah, it was mostly for like tennis, and then okay, here's like, you know, let's say some for food to buy, like, you know, like maybe like, I don't know, $300 to $400
just to cover basic needs.
Yeah, like $300 to $400 per month, just to like, okay, you buy food, you this and that. Because actually I lived on campus, and that's like was also part of the, I mean, kind of covered in the tuition. But then when I moved to the apartment, like my goal was like, oh, I want to pay for my own apartment. I don't want to ask my father to like, hey, can you give me money for apartment? And he was also
So you wanted to be independent.
Yeah, you know, like I had this because my dad was always like, oh, like you will not be, if you don't become professional, you will become like a tennis coach who will just hit the balls and that's it. I mean, it's not, still it's a good job, you know, to be a tennis coach, but I think maybe he didn't see it as what he maybe wanted, you know, or what he imagined being me, and also for me,
So what did he imagine? Did he imagine being a professional athlete or a businessman?
Yes, he wanted me to become like, he thought, or he saw me that I could become like a professional. I could play those bigger tournaments, and I could, you know, make a living from that, you know, and then hopefully maybe, well, I'm just saying from my side, give back as well, because obviously they invested a lot of energy and you know, finances too. So of course I want to give back. But then I saw that probably it's not going to happen in tennis. So when I was in the US, I saw a lot of people were doing something, you know, they were.
So at what point did you realize that it's not going to happen? Like, did that occur to you from the start? Like, first year, second year, like?
Yeah, it happened when I went to the university in the US, because before you go to the university in the US,
even during the first year.
Yes, because when you go to university in the US, it's like, actually now it's a bit different, but back then it was kind of like, you're not going to go pro. You're going to go to the university, and you most likely not going to be pro. Right now it's not true, because if you go to university, you can actually become a pro and you can be better. But back then, if you go to the university route, you will be already like probably not going to go pro.
So like really top players, at the time they didn't go to the university.
So Americans, for example, some of them went to the university, and then after that they became pro. But still, the trend was that you either go pro like after high school, or you would go to university and just continue with the studies and get a good job. But because it's hard to do both in university, because you have to
study and also
because you have to actually, like when you finish your training, like mandatory training, you have to, if you want to become pro, you have to stay longer and do more things. But practically speaking, you don't have time, because you have to do homework, you have to go to library and study. So most people just don't do it because they're tired. They're like, oh, why? It's like invisible training, I call it. You know, it's a training that you do that it's not like maybe visible, but then it pays off in the future, because it's like you build a house, you know, you build brick by brick, and then it becomes something bigger than that. So for me, it was like I was more motivated to start something like you know, like.
So the first year that you're coming to the US, you realize that probably you're not going to be able to train enough to really go pro, and then like how Fiverr comes into your life.
I found about Fiverr. I think I was just like researching online things, and I saw like Fiverr as a marketplace, and there were like others like Upwork, and for me it was just just to see what other people are doing, because I wanted to go there and just see how they're making money. And people were like making logos, they were building like websites, they were doing some other things. So I looked at the top people and I was like, wow, this guy has like, you know, 100 because on Fiverr you can see how many orders you have at the moment, right? Anyone can see that. So I saw that this guy has like 100 or 200 orders right now that he's working on, and I was like calculating. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like if I could get some, I mean, that will pay for apartment. I could maybe buy a ticket back home, you know, as well. Like, because I wanted to do these things to also show my father that actually I can do it, you know. I don't need to rely on him, and I don't need to rely on a corporate job, you know, because that's what he saw me after tennis. He was like, oh, maybe you're gonna go work in corporation, and I didn't want to.
So like, did you see like working in corporate job like as a bad thing?
I think it's at that time, like I was thinking that maybe this could be also a good option. Right now, if you tell me, I will not do it, because I just don't think.
Right now, it doesn't make sense for you because you're already an entrepreneur. But like back then.
Yeah, but now I know maybe more about this whole corporate culture. So back then I was like, okay, you see, because I had one of my, colleagues, that the one I played tennis with, he actually got a job at Twitter back then, and that time it was like, oh, cool, you work at Twitter in San Francisco, you know. And I was also actually I was emailing him because I wanted to follow this route. Like my goal was to actually work at maybe Instagram, Facebook, Meta right now. So I wanted to just get a taste of it, you know, because that's something that when you see this, you're like, wow, this is impressive. But then, actually, I don't know. I think Fiverr turned out to be like quite successful, but it wasn't always like this, because when I first started, I was doing like logo designs. I was trying to come up with the services that I can maybe learn on the go.
So at first it was just like some freelancing that you did just like in the spare time to just get like more, like couple of $100.
Yeah.
And at what point like it grew and you realized that it actually is a business?
Yeah, so I think when I was like closer to my last year at like let's say last year at university, I was already making like 2,000, 3,000, and it was just growing, you know, every month by month. And at one point, I just had to like also think, because
so it just like it started like 100, 200, and then like bit by bit it grew to 2,000, 3,000 per month.
So it started with 2015 when it was like $5 and then nothing, and then like maybe after a few months another, because I didn't know what service I want to do. And then in 2016, I think at that year, because I was actually at that year I was doing this Instagram stuff, like I was building this Marbella page on Instagram, because I was coming to Spain to train, and I in general I liked Instagram because I had my coach. He's actually also still my coach when I go to Spain. We train together, and he had his own business, and he was asking me like, how do I grow? How do I grow Instagram? Because Instagram was still kind of a visual platform that time. And I was helping him, and I was really motivated to learn how you can grow Instagram accounts. And I started to like follow people, you know, like, so basically, for example, you go to the competitor account and you start to follow everyone who is at the top, because the people who are at the top back then, it was who just followed you, you know, like maybe a few seconds ago. So for example, I was going to this girl, Kyla Itsinis, you know, maybe, I don't know if you heard, but she was a big fitness influencer from Australia, and even now she's huge. And I was just following her top followers, and then in like 3 minutes I saw some of them are following back the page of my coach for his products. And I was like, wow, this is really cool, because you just spend like 10 minutes following someone and they're following you back, you know. It was because also before Instagram was like, there were more like notifications, like when you follow someone you get notification. I mean, now people, you know, like disabled and stuff. Back then it was still kind of maybe more popular. And then I was like, okay, this actually works, because I was able to grow his Instagram. I grew it, I don't remember, it was like past.
So you got curious about growing Instagram?
Yes, I was really curious, and I saw the results, and I was really enjoying the process. Like I could do it all day, you know, and I could I was creating like different graphics, like, you know, I was using Keynote, actually, the app, the default Mac.
And today you're still providing services
to
grow Instagram, right?
Yes.
But like mostly it's for business pages, right?
It can be personal pages too, but right now, I mean, the way it works is it maybe similar, because we still have to interact. But back then you could follow like thousands of people every single day. Right now you can follow maybe 50 or 100 people maximum. But basically that gave me.
But there are other tools.
There are other ways, of course. There are other ways. I mean, you can use paid ads, you can use collaborations, but they're more like involves budget. You know, you have to need to have some budget. But for this engaging, it's like your own time. And when I did this on Fiverr,
but time is also valuable.
Yeah, time is very valuable. And when I did this on Fiverr, I was I just got like one client. He was maybe, I think I have it somewhere, but
so you got this one client, like. What year was that?
So that was 2016.
So you're still in school, right?
Yes, still in school.
Still in school. This is third year.
Yes, third year, still in school. I go like I became, because I started 2015, but I was not sure which service to do. So it took me some time to realize, and then 2016 I'm like, okay, Instagram I think is going to work, because I also tested with the local market in like Russia to grow some pages, but people were like, okay, it works, but I'm not going to pay you like I don't know, they were like $10 per month, and that's
Yeah.
what I'll pay you. So, and I was like, okay, let's still do it. And then I did it on Fiverr, and then at some point Fiverr started to pick up, like I got one client, and then after like 2-3 weeks I got another client.
So everyone wanted to grow on Instagram.
They were interested, and back
Yeah.
then there were not many services like this, because they were mainly services for like fake followers. That
Yeah.
was
But that were real followers.
that's real, because
Yeah.
I'm following them, and those people they see and they're following. It's like a common thing. Like when you start to follow someone, people will follow back. I mean, if you have a good page.
Yeah,
If
if
you
you see like it's a nice
yeah, but you see
content,
maybe like
yeah.
Raya, she worked there, then she's there, she's doing this. I mean, people will be curious, they will follow back. And of course, the negative part is that at some point you need to unfollow, and some people get upset about that, But I mean, it's kind of part of the game. Of course, with clients we have, like if they like someone, we keep following them. If they didn't follow, for example, if you followed someone and that person didn't follow you back, okay, you can maybe unfollow because maybe he's not interested. But it's obviously there is pros and cons.
Okay, so at the time when you started, were you doing that manually?
So I started with doing it, like on my actual phone.
Yeah.
And then I started to look at the ways how we can build
Automated.
like a system for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I don't want to say like automating everything, but
Yeah,
just
but at
just
least some
having
part.
just having some system where I could handle more clients. And at the beginning it was actually just having a team member. Maybe that person can help me with that as well. And then afterwards it became like a more systemized, because I started to be more invested in this whole thing in the industry, and started to look into ways how this can be a sustainable service as well for clients.
So this is the third year. So by the end of the university, you have some stable income,
Yes.
$3,000 per month.
So actually when I was graduating, I was like February, March, I was already like at 10K per month.
Wow, so you
Yes.
already had 10K per month.
Yeah, so like
Wow.
two months
So
before.
that may not sound like a lot for the US, but actually is quite a lot for Russia, where we're actually coming from.
But even for US, like
Yeah.
110K per month, it's like a lot of course it's, let's say, before expenses and stuff, but
Yeah.
still seeing that traction,
That growth.
yeah, I was like, okay, I mean, this actually will work out. I mean, I would rather just be invested in that rather than finding jobs or going to the corporate, because this is what I was enjoying a lot back then.
Yeah.
So, and then I graduated. It was very hard to graduate, because even like when I was studying my last years at some classes, because some classes were, I mean, as you know, some are interesting, some maybe not so. and I had this Fiverr, like clients are messaging, and I had to like open my laptop and like maybe go on Fiverr, because like when you're in, for example, I remember some people were not even paying attention to professor, they were like doing some other things on the laptop, because in the US you can use laptops, for classes. So I saw they're doing
Actually, we used laptops for classes too.
Yeah. I mean now, well, I mean, because you have to like program
I
code.
started in Moscow and we used
laptops. But I saw some people were like watching something or not paying attention to class, and I was like, okay, maybe I can check Fiverr then, like if I could. So it was very hard to finish, because I was like, my head was all there, because you're getting, imagine.
Okay, so you just like you abandoned your studies.
No. It was not like that, because my father will kill me, because we didn't had we had
Okay, so it sounds like you have a hell of a father.
Yeah, he was very strict. But so what I did actually with Fiverr, I just tried to like optimize it as much as I could, because I wanted to do many services, but then I was like, okay, let's finish university and then I will go all in. So that's what happened. I was able to graduate, I would say pretty well actually, for like even US standards. And then I was just like, okay, let's come back to Russia and let's like start, because I hired my first team member actually in 2016. Like at my when I was going to my last year of university, I hired the first team member. It was one of those summers. I went back home and I needed help, and I hired him. We started to work together, and he's working with me since then.
Since then,
yeah.
wow.
So it's been a while, and then. Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go back home. Let's maybe have an office. Let's start building this, And then, well, I guess there's a lot more things happen afterwards, like good things, but then I had to also go back to pretty much zero at one point.
Yeah. Well, why did it happen?
Because Instagram was not very friendly to, like, you know, it was changing a lot of things, and we had to, I think I was relying a lot on this kind of service.
You like relied only on growing Instagram.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
okay.
like the main focus. It was a good revenue generator. It brings a lot of revenue, but it also creates risks as well, because if something happens with Instagram, meaning that they change the limits, they change the way, I mean, it gets affected. And then of course when you have a team, in 2019 I had a team of close to 20 people, and a lot of expenses are coming. It becomes not very healthy for a business if something goes wrong. So at that time it went to, I mean, pretty much to zero. So I had to make a restart, and also it was
what year was it?
It was 2019. Actually, it was because in 2019 I got invited to the New York Stock Exchange. So I was on the balcony where all the famous entrepreneurs.
I think you have picture for that.
Yeah,
I think we should add picture.
Yeah, I have it on my Instagram. I actually pinned it because it serves as a good credibility, I think. But you know, back then it was a dream, you know, to be there and to stand on the balcony. I also put my signature on. They have this like a wall where everyone signs and they can say something as well.
So you went there for the launching
of the IPO. When Fiverr went public, they just sent me an emails like, hey, we want to invite you to the New York Stock Exchange. We're celebrating the launch of the IPO. And then I went there, and there were other sellers, maybe like 15 sellers that they invited from around the world. And then it was incredible, you know, like being there. It was like you're on the top of the world. But then after I came back, things started to go bad with Instagram. So there was a lot of nightmare, and I had to let go a lot of people because I couldn't pay them the salary. And then actually 2020 beginning, I had this sort of like a restart. I started to look at what I can do, and COVID happened, you know, so I actually just went to live with my grandmother because she lives on like countryside in Russia. So I just stayed with her, and I was just like researching and coming up with. I was actually testing some other ideas that I can do, and it was still bringing like few $1,000s. So I was like still making money, but not like before. But then eventually, eventually I was like, I took a break from Fiverr in 2020. Because I just wanted to try other things, and then I was just, you know, trying to find.
And then how did you come back?
So then I saw my competitor in the end of 2020. I saw one of my competitors, and they have like a lot of orders for the same service, like Instagram growth service. And I was like, okay, if they're there, I need to come back, you know. And also at that time I had the customer success manager from Fiverr, and we were also good friends. So he was like, oh, we want you back, like, you know, maybe you should come back on Fiverr. And then I was like, okay, let's give it a shot again. So 2021, I come back on Fiverr.
And did you change your strategy, your services?
What changed? I started to do other things like TikTok as well. I started to work with TikTok. I still work with Instagram. It was much harder than it was before, but I was still like, okay, I think this can still work. And 2021 I came back. It took some time, maybe 2-3 months.
But now you provide more services than just growing on Instagram, right?
Yes, now we're doing content as well. We're creating social media content, and actually Mila, my wife, she's a big part of that service. Like, she's leading the team as well. We have 3 designers right now, 2 of them in Serbia, 1 of them in Macedonia, and this service is more healthier, I would say, because we have a full control on the content we create, and I don't think it's going to go away. Like, the AI is not going to replace this kind of service soon. Maybe in the future.
You think so?
Yeah, for now no, but in the future probably yes. But
I think that in a year probably.
In a year, you think?
2,
you think? We'll see, because the thing is, like, people, I think technology is passing faster than what people can, you know, adapt to it. Like, for example,
it's gonna take some time to adapt.
Yes. So like, it's going fast, the technology, but people are still slow, you know, and they will prefer to just hire like you or me, you know, and we will like do the work for them. I
yeah,
mean,
but you can use AI tools to actually.
yes, so that's why I think it's powerful right now, because right
Yeah.
now when we create content, of course, like, well, we use Canva because
Yeah.
it's like simplified, but Canva also has their own like AI features that can help you with the content. But then of course ChatGPT as well. We use ChatGPT, we train it, we play around with it, and it really helps a lot. And then yeah, and then hopefully the Freelance Hustle, going back to the Freelance Hustle AI, hopefully, because
Hopefully it takes off.
we are trying also to create some things that will help us,
Yeah.
you know, with when we work with clients. So I hope that this can also help in the future with other sellers. But in general, yeah, I think what is happening now, we live in the greatest time
Yeah.
of all time to build something, to work with clients across the world, to yeah, just try things, and I think yeah, you can use the AI to really like, you know, make a lot of money these days. So
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
definitely good.
So let's just like go back a little bit and talk about your tennis career. So you started when you was what, 6 years old?
Yes, I started playing when I was 7.
7.
Yeah.
So you started when you were 7. So was it like a hobby, just like do some sports, or was it like from the start it was like something professional?
So it was, as I remember, it was a professional, because
Yeah.
like my parents wanted.
So from the start, the expectation of the parents were that it is like something that you're gonna do, and this is like something professional.
Maybe not when I was like 7, but
Yeah.
maybe closer to 10. It
Yeah.
was like, because like when I was 10, 11, I started to play my first international tournaments, and I actually did pretty well on those.
Yeah.
So that when it became like, okay, maybe we should put more focus on this.
Did you felt like it was expectations coming from your parents, or was it your own aspirations, like to push more here?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I liked it, like myself, to play, like to compete.
You just like enjoy the process.
Yes, I really like this feeling, like playing and like winning or fighting. So
How do you feel about losing?
I mean, it's sucked always, you know. I was like crying as well when I was young, but I mean, it's normal. But yeah, like tennis is it's mental sport. You have to be mentally prepared. But when you're a kid, when you're young, you're not thinking too much about mental. But that's why the parents have to be like respectful, and they have to listen to you and finding solutions together, not push you. My parents were totally fine. They were like supportive. They didn't like push really. I didn't feel that pressure. And like, let's say at that earlier stage. And then of course, like when you become older, you want to play well, you want to win tournaments, you want to make get points, ranking as well, and of course, because you live in this world where you have other players and you become friends, and then you start to like look up at each other and how is this person is doing in the ranking. So I think it's good, because it gives you a lot of competitiveness. You know, like you become competitive, you know how to fight, you know. So this part is great, but then yeah, I mean, you have to also learn how to lose, like overcome these tough losses and other things. But for me, tennis gave a lot of good stuff. Like I actually learned how to fight, how to work hard, build a discipline. So I think it was a really great decision to play the sport.
Do you miss that atmosphere of going to competitions?
I mean, I would say yes and no, because it's a bit like messy, you know, when you go and compete, because you have all these people who are really trying to make it work in tennis, and sometimes you can see that it might not work for them, but they don't want to think like that. They want to still think that it will work. So it's a bit, I don't know. For me, it's a completely different world right now, because what I'm doing, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not talking to these people that when I'm working, it's completely different types of people and their goals. Tennis is like, they're trying so hard, but then only like a small percentage are gonna make it, and most of them gonna become like coaches or gonna go and find a job, and the story ends with the tennis. So for example, now when I work in this industry, like I meet other people, and actually we can go and play tennis, and they play tennis, but we play it for fun, we play it for networking, we play it, so it becomes healthier, and we also.
So you think that the whole atmosphere of the competition, it was like too toxic? And
it was a bit, it was toxic because, because they, it's like, everyone is fighting, everyone wants to win, everyone wants to get the points.
So were people rude or like?
Yeah, some people were not nice, some people were like, everyone is like in their own, separated. I mean, I didn't feel enjoyment. When I went there, it was always this kind of like stress, and everyone looks at each other, and because you need to pass this stage.
Because you can't compete against each other.
Yeah, of course, and because you need to pass this stage. But most people end up in this stage. It's the beginning stage where you have this first pro tournaments, like it's called 25,000. Like you get this. If you play, you have $15,000 and $25,000 prize money. It's spread across like 32 players. So you have those, but then if you get ranking, you will play like higher level tournaments, like challengers, and then ATP, like where you can play like big tournaments. But to reach that point, you have to really try to escape this as fast, and it's very hard. Most people just stop there and that's it. But if they pass to the next one, then it becomes more enjoyable, because you can stay in the good hotels. You can, they also pay the hotels. You have nice, like tennis centers, the venues, they're nice. Spectators are watching you, and it becomes like, more healthier, maybe enjoyable. But it's still a bubble, like they're living.
So you're 7 years old, you're starting playing tennis. Do you remember, was it your choice to go to tennis, or was it influence?
Pushed. No, it was. I think it was my choice, because I tried to play hockey, and then actually my mom was not so for hockey, because I will be beaten up, or it's always like a fighting. So
tougher sport.
Yeah, it's a tougher sport. So tennis was something that my grandparents played. I saw them, like they played for fun, but I was like, I was growing up, and I saw like tennis, and I liked it, the idea. I mean, when I started playing it, I really enjoyed, like, and then 9-10 years old, started to compete. And
okay, so it actually was influenced from your grandparents.
Maybe, like grandparents, parents. I mean, like, I saw they were playing this kind of sport, and I was curious. I was like, I mean, it was fun, I really liked that process.
Do you like playing with the grandparents?
Well, back then it was fun. Right now I have, I only have 2 grandmothers that are still alive, so they're like a lot older. But we still obviously talk, and remember those old back days. It was like always fun. But for now, I mean, for now I can play like with my father a little bit. I mean, help him, because he's, I mean, he likes tennis so much, so he will play as well at any time. And when we go like somewhere, family together, we'll play like tennis maybe a bit. But right now paddle is becoming like
more
popular. So that's so we'll see.
That's true. Okay, so you also mentioned that you're working with your wife, Mila.
With Mila, yeah.
Yeah. So and you started working with her like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so when we moved to Serbia, she was searching for things to do, because she finished medical university and in Russia, and of course in order to work like in Serbia, you have to like do the studies again. So we wanted to see what she can do like online, because she wanted to do something. She just didn't want to like be at home and do nothing. So we tried a few things, and then eventually it turned out to be, she started to create content for clients. We created a service on Fiverr inside of my profile, and we got a first client, and she started to create social media posts, because she had experience with Canva before. She was actually helping me with another project before, like 2018, 2019. And we were like, okay, because that's the thing on Fiverr, you can see what others are doing, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can also do that, or I can try. So we tried this kind of service, and she liked the process. And then after that, we were like, okay, let's now it's time to hire someone. You know, it's time to you know, not just do you, because you can only manage maybe like 5 clients per month, and we want to make it like more. You know, like not just 5 and that's it. So we started to find people, like hire people, and essentially we became like a service direction. And now she manages 3 girls, and we have a good revenues coming, more than 10K per month, coming just from that service, content service. So, and I think it has a great potential, but it's going to be harder to scale because we need to have more designers. So
or maybe use AI.
Use AI, but it's still, yeah, it's still not so good. But maybe, yeah, maybe in the future.
So how do you manage your like work relationship and your relationship? Do you set some boundaries there, or would you just like talk about work at home?
Yeah.
And just like you would talk about work at home?
There is always room for improvement, but yeah, I mean, right now we are working a lot, like and talking about work. I mean, I like to talk about work. Of course, for Mila, she enjoys the process, but I think for her, like, it's also important to, like, for any other person, to switch off and to be able to, you know, do other things besides working, because I can work all the time. I like it, but yeah, I think for her it's important as well to have the balance.
Yeah.
And
so how do you navigate that balance?
so we try to switch off sometimes, like, you know, to go to places. We try, but I think we both understand the biggest benefit we have is the freedom that we can. I mean, we're the one who decides what to do. Not only because maybe we cannot go for a month and switch off, because we have a team, you know, and you know how it's important, you know, that you know you cannot just go somewhere for a month, you know. You need to have like you know, a good system, you know, or people who work with you, and they can
at least some people who can like
replace,
fill in.
fill in. So, but still, we have this freedom of decision, and that's what makes it very the most rewarding, you know.
So what's your main motivation? So we are like right now. So first it started like your own business. Now it's more like a family business, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like, probably, of course, the more like we grow as a family, like kids, maybe in the future, of course, maybe Mila will not be as involved. Like, let's say, we'll see. But I really think she is not only like helping and building this part of the content, but she's also like a big advisor for me, because when I speak at conferences, when I have other ideas and things, she always gives a lot of great inputs and gives me a lot of good feedback on the things that I'm doing, things that I want to do. So I really value this a lot. And
so you're like a team.
Yeah, so I think that's the most important as well in the relationship, that you have this communication between each other and understanding each other. Like, you can listen, you can like, someone provide feedback, you discuss about it, and you just think how you can, continue to grow together.
But I think like it may like feel sometimes that you're like overly criticized, and sometimes you just like you just like want to get support, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you manage this? Like, do you have some tricks like that you would just like say, I don't know, some word that, okay, we'll need a break here, let's just like switch to the support mode?
I mean, I don't know. It's like, I think we're very similar to each other with the vision of life, with the work, understanding. So yeah, like we can complement each other, maybe.
So you just like, you have that balance that you provide positive feedback, negative feedback.
I mean, we're always being honest with each other. Like, if it's not good, we'll say that maybe it's not good. She would say, and we will actually go maybe more in depth and
you just like discuss what's the reason that it's
analyze
not working.
It. Of course, because she might say, okay, this is good, and I think that this is not good. but in the end we'll just listen to both. I think that's important in a relationship as well, to really understand how you see it and how I see it and why we see it differently and where there could be some mutual connection there. And then
yeah, like it's like easy to say,
yeah,
but it's like hard to implement.
it's
like,
hard, yeah. I mean, and then eventually you need to pick some of the direction, and then if that direction will work, then okay, it worked. If it didn't work, it didn't work. So, but yeah, it's all about communicating with each other, listening to each other, respecting each other, and yeah, because when you're a family, you need to. It's like you want to grow all together, you know. So, but every relationship is different. In some of them, they're not, like some of them are not working and stuff. So I think, yeah, it's all, like for us, it worked maybe well because Mila, she wanted to help, she wanted to also, you know, contribute, and then, yeah, it turned out to be a good, but maybe in the future it will be changed because she doesn't need to work, and maybe in the future she'll be busy with like family stuff, kids, and because that also takes a lot of work, because if you have kids, and it's going to be hard to work because now we can work like all day, but when you have a kid, you don't want to, like, you want to spend all day with the kid rather than working. So that's going to be a transition, and that's going to be something new maybe for us when this happens. But when it happens, we'll be able to hopefully adjust. You know, that's where you have to build the systems and have team members who can maybe help you. And yeah, but I think she'll be always my advisor for the rest of my life. So I mean,
I love that.
yeah, so.
But like, so I can understand, like, it's easy to communicate if you're not really under stress, you're well rested, but that's not what happens sometimes. So sometimes you're on a sleep deficiency, you're under a lot of stress, maybe the client's very demanding, they want a lot, like they give you some strict deadlines, and so under these conditions it may like get heated and harder to communicate like in a healthy way, right?
Yeah. So yeah, when this happens, we just have to like step away from work, we have to analyze, maybe do some activity or switch off. You know, I mean, you need to rest. So of course, like sleeping is important, getting enough hours of sleep, but you don't want to pursue a decision when you're not like rested enough, fresh. You don't want to make a rush decision. So of course, maybe some of man or woman, like some of you can make that rush decision, but you have to both understand. You should not like kind of like overheat at the same time, because it will probably not be a good decision. Like some of you have to like compensate or balance, and I mean you need to be like, yeah, sometimes it's hard, we all have emotions, but I think it's important, yeah, to like, I hope, yeah, if for everyone who is like watching, listening, like the best is to just be rested first, like calm down, no need to make a volcano, if it's already like heated.
So you just like, your advice, if you just like feel that emotions are coming down, just like step back and just like get a little rest and come back to the discussion later.
Maybe rest from each other, go on a walk, go and do something, and like just get your thoughts together, and then have a good talk together again. And it's all about, I mean, in life there is no like, you have to learn from the experience. So when something goes wrong or happens, you just have to go through it, hopefully being mature enough not to make even worse, because sometimes when something bad happens, we could make it even worse, and then what happened previously, maybe it's not even important because you made it even worse now. So you just have to like, stay cool, mature, consistent.
It's easy to say, stay cool.
Yes,
cool.
But I don't know. When shit happens, you just have to, like in life, when something goes wrong, just try to solve it. Like I mean, I don't know. It's always you cannot say like beforehand. Like you just have to go through it, but hopefully you won't have those types of moments. Hopefully it will be most good stuff. And
I see. So what drives you to work every day? Like you literally work 7 days per week, right?
Right now, yes, but I try to like cool down on the weekend still, do less work because it's important to rest. I think the weekends are important as well. But for me, it's like, I don't know, I like this. I feel, I like to be busy. It feels good, you know.
Do you think that that sense is coming from you being in the sport and being like always busy with the sport?
I think we have different like like I have different, of course, goals. There is a goal of you want to grow and you want to like build a family and essentially provide, you know, good life for your kids in the future.
So you feel like you're building something for your family, and that like the main motivation for you.
It's one of them, because I know that once we will become older, we won't be able to work the same way, and I think that I won't be able to like work at the current pace. So I'm trying to use this time, and of course, when I was at the university, I also was thinking that it's the best time to do things, to try, to fail. So that's drives, but also I feel like you know, the technology is growing so fast, and you want to stay updated with what is going on now with the AI, with other things. So I feel like I need to be like invested, even though maybe I'm not like working on something, but I still need to be understanding where the technology, because it's moving really fast, and
where it goes.
Yes, where it goes, and it's also important to use it for your business as well, like for your things.
So just like be on time to adopt everything that's
yes
out.
And then the other thing is also, I like to talk to people. I feel it's nice to influence someone, you know, like if someone is doing something and you feel like they can benefit from maybe my experience, I would love to share something, and hopefully that person will maybe go on Fiverr and, you know, start to make some money, and maybe he or she will quit a job that they have and maybe they will have more freedom. I mean, that's what also pushes me as well. I mean, I think that's the biggest you know, of course there is also the financial factor, that of course you can make more money, I can, you know, do things that I want, buy things that I want, but I mean, that's, money is important, unfortunately, as I say, because if they say it's not important, I mean, it's not true, it is important in our life. But I think it doesn't give you that, because once you make a lot of money, you know how it feels, and it doesn't give you that same drive or motivation or something. But what gives you more, it's probably when you're like influencing someone.
And do you see like how other people around you are growing, what they're doing?
It's, you know, that's what makes really, like, I think that will make me a lot more happier if I see that, oh, someone is doing this, and I see that already, and it makes me happy. And some people are actually doing maybe even a lot better than me, you know, and I'm not jealous about it. I'm just happy because it's working out for them, and I'm happy because this person used his or her potential to achieve these things. So for me, it's nice, you know, to see that, and I think that's one of the biggest factors as well.
So how do you see your life in 10 years?
I don't know. Probably will be busy with family, and honestly, I don't know, because it can change in a year, everything. So, but I think I would like to stay healthy. I would like to stay like fit as well. Do sports. I would like to maybe speak more at conferences and like pursue that sort of public speaking direction. You know, and whatever happens in business, and like, you know, maybe there will be, maybe I will not do Fiverr, I don't know, or maybe I'll still be on Fiverr, but I don't really see like something. We'll see. Hopefully these projects will, the AI project, also we don't know, because 10 years is a lot, but I hope that I can do something more with the community of freelancers, community of Fiverr sellers, or just in generally, freelancers, and we'll see. But it's a big question, and the most important is, I think, to stay healthy, fresh, and once you have that, you can do everything that you want. I don't want to be like exhausted, hating the job, you know, like feeling negative. Like that's the least I want to have, because now I'm 30. I remember how I was at 20. Now I'm 30. In 10 years I'll be 40. So it's gonna be like a different chapter. But I want to stay just positive and live in the we'll see what happens. Maybe AI will take over everything. So, but yeah, just want to be positive and hopefully, talk more with people, meet people like you as well, and discuss these types of things.
So I feel like for you, family comes first, right? But work is also important because it's like how you spend your time, and also because it's resources for your family, which is also important.
Yeah.
Like, did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, like for example, before I would say to Mila, like, I mean, she would say work is first and she's the second, or like family is maybe not the first. For me, it's like I would like, of course, work is a priority, is always, but of course, I would like the family to be first, and hopefully, the older I become, I could really say that yes, like family is the first and work is.
You just understand that now is the moment to just like double down on the work, so in the future you will have more time for the family.
Yeah, because it will be nice to also have, like, let's say okay, I can take 6 months, let's say, off, but I could still, the business can still work, because maybe you build some things that can still operate without you actively being involved. I think it will be nice to say that I can spend 6 months just dedicated to family, dedicated to to things that are a priority. And the work, because I worked for a lot of years and a lot of systems built, it will be amazing to say that okay, the work, I can take 6 months off and nothing bad will happen there. So, but for now, yeah, I mean, I guess
for now, work comes first.
For now, it's a priority. Yeah, it's the highest priority, just because we're still young and yeah. So.
It's been really fun talking to you. Yeah.
Thanks, Rai. Always nice to talk to you as well.
Yeah. So thank you for sitting down with me today and sharing your story. I think it's really amazing and interesting, like how a person grows and like all the involvement. That was really interesting to learn.
Yeah, no, it's likewise as well. Speaking of you, talking, listening to you, because you have great questions, and you're always very analytical about things. So yeah, hopefully it's been great, and we will do maybe a follow up as well. And of course,
for sure.
Your story is also very interesting, and it will be nice to do the. Like a reverse interview where I can ask you and share it on my channel as well.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you, Raya.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching this podcast, and see you in the next video. Yeah.